a year ago, I got a comment requesting a video about gyroids, and I basically decided that if and when gyroids are added to Animal Crossing New Horizons, I would make the video. Well, now they're in, so thank you so much for the request. Let's talk about gyroids. Just a little disclaimer I like to give is that history and culture are not really my area of expertise. That being said, I always do the best research that I can, and I'm always happy to continue the conversation in the comments. So what are these weird little robotic figures that move to the beat that you just find underground in Animal Crossing? Where did the idea for these bizarre items come from? Well, the Japanese name for gyroid reveals the answer. They're called haniwa, based on historical Japanese tomb sculptures of the same name. So while a lot of us were surprised to see gravestones in New Horizons, artifacts of the dead have always been a part of Animal Crossing. Haniwa translates to circle of clay, and these terracotta figurines date back to the 3rd to 6th century AD in Japan, known as the Kofun Period. Kofun are these really cool, often keyhole-shaped burial mounds, usually reserved for important people of that time, like emperors or powerful clan leaders. And these were the massive tombs that haniwa were placed on or around. Early haniwa were just plain clay cylinders, literal circles of clay. But later on they began to be modeled after humans, animals, even objects. Horses were apparently some of the most common animals depicted, and we'll try not to see that as a bad omen for Julian and Roscoe. A wide variety of people were represented as haniwa: warriors, shrine maidens, even dancers, which we'll get to, and all with this really unique art style with simplistic, hollow facial features, but often the clothing or objects they held were a lot more detailed. It's a very distinctive style that gyroids are definitely emulating. The mysterious thing about these haniwa is there's no surviving evidence as to why these figures were placed on graves, so historians can only speculate. One explanation is they served the practical purpose of preventing the burial mound from eroding away. Another possibility is they were used to mark the perimeter of graves. But then why were they eventually modeled after people and animals? Well, we can guess based on similar practices in other parts of the world that these figures are meant to either reenact the actual burial ceremony that took place, or to provide for the spirits of the dead in the afterlife. In all likelihood, they served multiple functions, and those functions evolved over time. In Animal Crossing, gyroids have a musical function. They move to the beat and give us unique sounds to enjoy in-game. The haniwa they're based on did not create any music, but they did often depict singers, dancers, and musicians. Some scholars theorize that these musical figures are meant to provide some entertainment for the deceased, or to represent actual musicians that were present at the burial. And that characteristic pose of one arm up, one arm down was very common as well. I actually went to an art museum to see some haniwa in person, and they were doing the gyroid pose, which was so cool to see. In Animal Crossing, gyroids tend to appear after rainfall, which is similar to how in real life rain and storm damage can unearth haniwa from their kofuns. As you might expect, the tombs are often left as untouched sacred sites. So interestingly, typhoon damage is one of the rare circumstances when these artifacts are revealed. So yeah, in Animal Crossing, you're low-key digging up a grave. Is that why the GameCube game would punish you by giving you a creepy gyroid face? Because that was a real thing that happened in that game. Back then, if you reset the game while visiting a friend's town, your face was replaced with this. The game was weirdly punishing back then. I guess the spirits of the dead must be haunting you. Haniwa's grim and mysterious past has been embraced in a whole new light in today's pop culture. They're not only found in Animal Crossing, but also inspired the Cactuar in Final Fantasy, the Earthen Warriors in Dragon Quest, and the Cappies in Kirby. I think it's really cool that this little nugget of history is something that people continue to enjoy today, while also providing a very important window to the past. The haniwa have been extremely important artifacts for understanding the architecture, clothing, tools, music, and culture of the Kofun period. Are you excited for gyroids in New Horizons? Let me know in the comments below, and consider subscribing to my channel to support my content, keep up with my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.